Hello and welcome back everyone to another episode of Experts Ki Raye, and today I am highly overwhelmed and excited because today we have our delegate from JAIN Online JAIN Deemed to be University. So जो आज के हमारे मेहमान हैं जिनके साथ मैं इंटरव्यू सेशन लेने वाली हूँ, he is highly experienced and he has 34 years of experience in both financial services and academics, and he has been the columnist in newspapers and magazines, author of 9 books and a lot more. So by the end of this session, we will discuss the question you have asked. यानी कि आप लोगों ने जो मेरी वीडियो पे जो बहुत सारे questions पूछे हैं about online education and JAIN Online, वो सब भी हम डिस्कस करने वाले हैं at the end of this session. तो इस वीडियो को, इस इंटरव्यू सेशन को आखिर तक जरूर देखिएगा so that आपको सभी insights मिल जाए. So let us all welcome the professor and program head of JAIN Online. Let's get started. So let's welcome Dr. Balaji Rao DG. He is the program head and professor of JAIN Online JAIN Deemed to be University. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much.
So,
warm welcome.
Welcome to our show, sir, and we are very thankful that you are here.
Pleasure is all.
Let's dive into the very first question that
Sure.
Online education is the future of India. How?
See, if you look at the conventional mode of education, till about 1990s, the education had remained to be very monotonous. The same classroom, same teachers, same setup. It had not changed much. But the defining moment came due to COVID-induced limitations, restrictions. Because there was always a latent demand for learning from anywhere, learning by anybody, and learning anytime. This, I think, is going to define the future of education. And then 2000 onwards, there has been a good shift or a constructive shift from the conventional mode of education to a new normal education. Yeah. So we are very excited to see this new future of education that is going to be redefined by online mode of education.
Yeah, we see a lot of advantages in online education, like classes and everything. We will talk about that also.
Sure.
My another question is, what are the factors a student look before choosing a university?
See, university should be entitled by University Grant Commission, that is UGC, and also the programs should be approved by AICTE, that is All India Council for Technical Education.
Yes.
Programs like MBA, MCA, these should be approved.
Approved by AICTE?
AICTE is one of the important approving authorities,
okay,
which gives the kind of authenticity for the programs that students would be doing. And apart from this, which are very important, apart from these two, that is getting entitled by UGC and approved by AICTE, the universities also have a legacy of providing education, to which JAIN Deemed to be University has the legacy of 30 years.
30 years.
So these factors will make the students, when they choose a university, to be, you feel more comfortable and you feel more secure when you are having these three sets of fence around you. UGC entitled, AICTE approved, and the legacy of being in the education industry for 3 decades. This, I think, is going to be very, very important.
Okay, and what about the other approvals like NAC accreditation, World University ranking, NIRF ranking? What are those? See,
all these are part of the growth of an university. So with a legacy of 30 years, okay, all these kind of entitlements of having NAC approved, distinctions received from various awarding entities, all these are already available with JAIN Deemed to be University.
JAIN Deemed to be University.
Absolutely.
JAIN Online have this NAC accreditation and
correct.
World University
Absolutely.
ranking.
Absolutely.
So the degree is going to be globally valid.
Absolutely. Why not?
So sir, we see that you are already into regular education and distance education from decades. So what inspired you to start this new mode of education, online education?
When UGC invited the applications for online education, we were among one of the few universities that took the initiative to apply for that opportunity. And JAIN already has a legacy, like I said, of 30 years. So getting into the new mode of offering education wasn't difficult. Actually, all it required was a little bit of adjustments, preparation, end of this education. So only the mode of delivering the education were to change. So that, I think, made us to quickly transform into an online mode of education.
And we see that technology is changing, so we'll have to change with it. The education
Absolutely.
system
See,
is also
online means it is technology driven only.
Yeah.
So that adjustment and preparation is what we were able to quickly adapt.
What students can look forward to in online education? Can you share some of the advantages?
See, in fact, there are several advantages for students of online education. So at JAIN Deemed to be University, we bring unique learning propositions. In fact, we offer more than 70 electives and specializations, which itself brings that uniqueness to students, because we are trying to meet up with the expectations, or rather I would say the growing expectations of the industries.
70 is...
That's why I said, the education had remained monotonous for a very long time.
Yeah.
So today, why are we bringing these 70 and odd specializations or electives? Because we are trying to meet the growing expectations of the industry.
And the students also.
Yeah, obviously industry starts growing. Or I would say when economy starts growing, that means industries are growing. So the industries would need new talents, new skills, new perspectives. That, I think, is going to be the biggest change that we have seen, or we are going to witness even a larger scale in the years to come.
Yeah.
Now, coming to what advantages are there. In fact, JAIN has associated with several chartered bodies, okay, who bring their expertise. Because that's why we call electives. No, see, there are core courses and there will be specialization courses. So these electives are what the chartered bodies will bring. They'll bring their expertise into that. Now, for example, advertising is something which a chartered body can bring, or let us say a financial market related learning. That would what a chartered body would bring. Maybe an accounting subject. That's what a chartered body can bring. So we have associated ourselves or brought these kind of external renowned chartered bodies to offer that distinct flavor that matches with the industry expectations. And we also follow the UGC guidelines of 4-quadrant approach, which is very critical for today's expectations of learning. So at JAIN Deemed University, we bring such kind of new and unique opportunities for students to upgrade and upskill themselves along the time they are going to complete their graduate post-graduation with us.
It's like if I have interest in AI or data science or any cloud computing, then earlier there were no programs related to these subjects. Now we have, right?
Yeah, see, today you have, like you rightly mentioned, artificial intelligence itself is a specialization subject.
Yes.
I'm sure we are aware that this AI or BI, business intelligence, was not a term that was used a decade ago.
Yes.
So even I would say blockchain or cryptocurrencies, supply chain management. Yeah. These were not something which were very conventional before a decade ago. So today, we are proud to bring these kind of electives and specializations to the students, and we are offering them a range of specializations. Okay, so because I believe that each one will have their own uniqueness as a student. So at JAIN Deemed University, we have understood, again, it's about our experience of 3 decades of being in the education industry, that we are able to understand these growing needs of the industry, which we are trying to align by providing these kind of unique propositions to students that they can choose, they can enroll for the courses and be prepared for the future challenges and opportunities. This, I think, is the biggest advantage that our university is bringing.
And there is this dual specialization also.
See, dual specialization is something which is very unique. A person who is doing finance can also do marketing. A person who is doing human resource can also do finance. Because when you go to a company today, a company has stopped looking at a student who knows only one particular subject or one particular skill. If you have dual skills, that's where I think the employer also will be more interested to hire that person, that this person knows two different subject specializations. So tomorrow when you're working in an organization, you can be moved into lateral departments.
It's like we are learning two skills at one time only.
Absolutely. So this is something, a vision that our university has got to bring that kind of fusion to assist the students to pick those dual specializations, which would offer them much more confidence when they're attending interviews and meet the expectations of their employers in the coming days.
And we also see that there are very less universities that are providing dual specialization, and I think it is a great initiative. So we have already talked about the advantages. What about the disadvantages of online education?
The canteen gossip. So why do students love to go to a physical classroom? Because I want to interact. I want to spend some outside the classroom time with my classmates. Again, we'll go back to the same question that we answered. What change that we have seen? This is the change we are seeing. That means from conventional mode of education, that we were confined to learn from a classroom and we were interacting with our classmates. Okay, this I think is the biggest missing that students would do.
The grooming part also.
Yeah, see, it's online. See, offline, online are two different poles, in fact. But what would you see as advantage? See, I would say every type of education or mode of education has got its own advantages and disadvantages. Right? Now, in virtual mode of learning, this college gossip or canteen gossip is ruled because it is virtual.
Yes.
Correct? Now, disadvantages is something which I would not like to take it as a subjective, that something is advantageous or disadvantageous. I would say in online mode of learning, a student has to be self-motivated.
Yes.
Now, in the sense, if I'm in a classroom, I'm actually competing with you. If you were to be my classmate, okay, indirectly I'm competing because I want to do better than you, or you want to do better than me, on various levels.
We are like competitors.
Yeah, that's human nature is like that. Now, even when you're driving on the road, you want to go faster than somebody. If you're alone on the road, you are first or second, it doesn't matter. But when you're driving with 10 people or driving cars on the road, you want to be first among them. So it is a human nature. But this online education, you have to be self-motivated because you don't know who is competing with you.
Yes.
So you have to bring that inner motivation that I'm a self-learner. I'm an individual learner. I'm not a group learner. Unlike in a class.
Ignite that zeal inside.
Exactly. I like that word. We have to ignite that zeal inside us.
Yes.
That I'm an individual learner. Okay, and I have to inculcate a certain discipline inside. When I'm learning online, that discipline is what we should be, or the student should be focusing more on.
Yes.
So this, I think, what we have done at JAIN Online, we understand this shift for a student from being a student inside the classroom and studying without any classmates. So how do you make the student, or rather give the right ambience for the student, is that so we put the student into so many activities that can be individual oriented activities, or the student can even do the activity amongst the group. For example, section A. So normally in classroom what happens? You have a section A, section B, like that we have sections.
Yes.
So in online also, what at JAIN Online, what we have done is that students again are going to be in the sections, classrooms.
Okay.
Okay, though they are not in a classroom, but we are
in
going
online
to put them
education.
in, in classroom only. No, it's a section.
Okay.
Right? So there are certain number of students in that particular section. Now they can create their own group. So their activities, there also can be an involved activity which can involve a set of students. Like in a classroom, I can make 10 groups and provide them or give them a case that you all 10 of you solve this particular case. This is possible even in online. This I think is an evolving method for students where they might miss a classroom, but they're not going to miss the experience that they would have had on online. This I think JAIN Online definitely has brought this, and we are going to improvise on this in the coming days.
So you conduct a lot of activities to engage the students.
See, student engagement is the crux of online education.
Yeah.
So though they are going to study only on the weekends, the lectures happens only on the weekends, but the other 5 days is what? Keeping them engaged, keeping them active is what is going to be the biggest opportunity that JAIN Online is going to offer.
So you also work on soft skills with this engagement, these activities.
See, if you look at that, in fact, we provide what is called as pre-sem activities. Now, for example, a new batch is going to start, let's say a month later. Now, before that actual commencement of the classes, we already would have started a pre-sem activity where the student is not learning anything from a textbook. We get some guest faculties. In fact, a couple of days ago, last weekend, we brought a startup promoter, gave a 90-minute, I wouldn't say a lecture. He shared his failures and successes being a promoter. Okay, so it was well received concept that somebody. So that I'm trying to say. So we are not only a textbook oriented learning provider. So 2 weeks back, we had somebody who were talking about cryptocurrency, blockchain. So this is nothing to do with textbook. But again, something which is different outside the purview of the normal textbook learning. So these kind of things is what we would like to build.
These are the kind of things out of the box.
Exactly. So this, I think we are trying to already introduce this kind of opportunity for students to do, and this is going to increase. The momentum is going to get much better in the coming days, is what I can say.
So that time is like you will have to do things out of the box.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's what you are preparing students for.
Absolutely.
So sir, there are two types of students, freshers and working professionals. Who do you think go for online education?
As such, there should be no difference as to who should opt for this online education. Because just like conventional mode of education, okay, it suits each type of education, suits different types of candidates or different types of people. The online mode of education actually suits every type of learner. See, freshers normally used to go to a conventional classroom kind of an education, but online is not conventional. So it is something which offers an opportunity for every type of learner, whether you are a fresher or a working professional, since the learning happens only on the weekends.
So it is beneficial for freshers and working professionals both.
Anyone who would like to seek higher education can opt for this. Whether you are a fresh out of college, a working professional, all you need to do is keep yourself free on the weekends.
So it will not affect their career.
No, it will affect the career. So Monday to Friday, I'm doing whatever I'm doing. I might be working. I might be pursuing some other interests of mine. So I need to be available to learn on Saturday and Sunday. So it will suit anybody for that matter.
Great. And they can do two things at a time in two modes of education.
Absolutely. They can do both, have the liberty, pursue their interests between Monday and Friday, and take up the learning on Saturday and Sunday.
So you can learn and you can go for your passion also all together.
You can be a scuba diver, you can be a mountaineer, you can be a cricketer.
Yes.
Or you will be working officially Monday to Friday.
So online education is feasible for freshers and working professionals, and it is going to be beneficial for you only. The biggest question is like, who is going to teach? So my question is, do the same faculty member of regular education teach in online education?
No, not necessarily. In fact, the online mode of delivery has opened up new opportunities of teaching. See, in a conventional mode of regular education, we were restricted we could bring only domestic faculties. I don't want to use the word local faculties. I want to use the word domestic faculty. That means who are in the vicinity of the city. For example, if I'm doing a offline education or a regular classroom education, the faculties would be in and around Bangalore. Or I could have gone outside, maybe I go to Mumbai, I go to Chennai, I go to Hyderabad or Delhi and get faculty from there on a very limited visits.
Yes.
To the
guest
university
kind of.
or to the classroom. But online education has given a great opportunity for not only us as an university, but also for the students. Because it's easy now for us to get an acclaimed international faculty or a person with international expertise, exposure to come and teach them, because it is anywhere, anytime,
So you
anyone.
have this dedicated
So
team.
we have a blend of international faculties and our regular faculties. This, I think, is a very, very defining opportunity which students should be getting, that they are getting the best of not only Indian faculties, but they are getting international faculties also.
And they are all highly educated PhD holders.
See, there is no question that they are highly educated. I think that question itself, I would like to say that they are having PhDs or not. The moment you talk about a master's education or a postgraduate education, the background of them will definitely be illustrious. So PhD today is one of the commonest qualification that is looked at, provide teaching opportunities or rather learning opportunities for the students, what I think.
So if I go with the answer of sir, then your learning is going to be top class. Great LMS, great faculty members, but the last thing is placement. So online education is valid for placement assistance in top industries, is it?
Of course, it is valid. There would be no discrepancies or distortions in the placement space. I think there's a lot of confusion or misunderstanding that is surrounding online education, that they will not be eligible for any industry placements. I think that is a wrong notion. In fact, the chairman of University Grant Commission, Mr. M. Jagdish Kumar, he made it very clear in one of his interviews that why there should be difference between conventional mode of education, regular education, and online mode of education.
And there is this guideline of UGC also that regular education and
online education.
Online education is at par and it is similar, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. So what I mean to say is that only the mode of education is changing. What else is changing? In fact, I would say if a student has chosen to learn through online, there are more benefits, more advantages for them.
But students are not aware of this, and students are like, there is no placement assistance in online education. This is one of the biggest questions students keep on asking me on my channel, on comment section.
See, placement, any college, any education institution, I would say, they only offer placement assistance. See, I can always take the candidate to the prospective employer for the interview. So, cracking the interview and convincing the interviewer or the employer or the prospective employer is always the responsibility of the student. So what is the biggest advantage for online student when it comes to placement? That I will share with you. See, in online mode of education, the 5 days that you get, Monday to Friday, you are not going to idle yourself. No? You are going to do something which is constructive and productive, that is going to add along with your degree, that a conventional mode of education or regular classroom education would not provide. No?
That X factor.
Yeah, so if I were to be a recruiter or an employer, I would be happy to receive a job application or a job interest from a student who would say, I have a degree and I have an experience in these 2 years of doing a post-graduation where I was employed, I was getting some skills in this 2 years. So this, I think, is going to be music to my ears.
Or either I am learning 2 things at a time. Even if I'm not working somewhere, I am learning something.
Correct, no.
Yeah.
That online mode of education provides that
Getting
greatest
that extra
opportunity.
skill.
Exactly. So this is what recruiters also will realize. Because they say, I'm going to get a candidate who has some experience and the required qualification. This is what going to be the best blend for a recruiter.
Or the capability of doing something in the
See, nobody would sit quiet. Nobody should idle. 5 days, it's not easy for someone to sit idle. When you choose an online mode which is delivered or learned only on the weekends, the student is already aware that I have to be busy in those 5 days doing something constructive. So this advantage of getting skilled in those 5 days, either it is a work experience, working in a normal job, or doing something which is more constructive and productive, and a degree at the end of they complete a degree. Both the things has to blend in well. That is going to be the biggest opportunity for placements. And who doesn't want to hire a good candidate?
Yes, exactly. So even if the university is promising you to give a 100% placement, even then they are going to give you placement assistance only. No university, no college is going to give you the job in hand. You'll have to work for it.
Correct. You have to equip yourself.
Yes.
To be eligible
and
to
you'll
get
have
into
to
top
crack the
industries.
interview, and for that you'll have to learn.
Absolutely.
So sir, there is this one confusion. Students are still not aware of that. What is the difference between online education and distance education? So could you please just tell us the 3 major differences between online education and distance education?
See, online education is an evolving mode of education. It doesn't have a long legacy of being present. So distance education has already been there for quite a while.
Yeah.
Because it's wrong to say that advantages or disadvantages. Okay, because every mode of education has got its own merits and demerits. So if you look at the major differentiation between distance education and online education is that, see, online education means it is 100% digital. Distance education is not digital. You have to enroll for the distance education. You have to visit the education institution or the university and attend those weekend classes that are conducted in the classroom again.
In the classroom, okay.
You have to visit, no. So if the class is happening in Delhi, I am from Bangalore, how will I go and attend my classes there?
Yes.
And I have to wait for the books to be couriered to me. There are a lot of inconveniences when it comes to distance education, which this online mode of education has given an opportunity for students to learn, upgrade themselves, involve themselves on 100% online mode. So that itself is the biggest difference between distance education and online education. And in distance mode of education, if you miss that class that was scheduled by your institution, how will you revisit it? You can't go back to that class. I missed that class.
So
completely.
there are no video recorded lectures.
It is not recorded. No. So here, even if you miss a class, the videos are available, no, for you to view it 24/7 at your convenience. You can stop. Let's say I'm teaching and the student is listening to me. The student wants to rewind my lecture. She can stop, go back, slowly listen to it, and continue. So what other education mode gives you this kind of a stop, learn, understand, continue? So this, I think, will put you to see every teaching has got a perspective. As a professor, I have been teaching for the last decade or so. So there are a lot of nuances in my teaching. So if you are an online learner, you can always go back to my lecture again and understand the nuance that I am trying to bring into my lecture. So this is the biggest advantage what online education has brought or will bring in the days to come.
Okay, so there is this difference of examination mode. You can give examination from anywhere. The difference of class.
Absolutely. See, online mode of education lets a student to take the exam even from moon, as long as you have an internet connection with you. But if you have chosen a distance mode of education, you have to travel, you have to commute to that education or to the examination center and then give your education. So there is no such compulsions on online mode. No? You can learn from anywhere and write the exam also from anywhere. No?
You have this amazing facility in online education.
Correct. So this, I think, students should realize. This is what is going to be the biggest difference between the distance mode of education and the online mode of education.
So, sir, the very last question. How has been the journey of online education till date?
Well, ever since we received the approval from the UGC in the early part of 2021, the journey has been very exciting and invigorating. When the conventional mode of education, the students are from limited geographical background.
Okay.
But the online mode of education has made us to interact, to teach with the wider geographical locations. Students from across the world has been our students.
Okay, so you have national and international students.
Absolutely. We have the great opportunity to provide education today to national and international students. So this is a great opportunity that we have seized, and the expectations and demands of online education also is quite different from a regular mode of education, because like I said, it's an evolving method of learning, and in the last year or so, since we got the approval, we are also evolving, we are improvising. It would be wrong on our part to say that we are 100% ready. It's a journey. This concept is new for the world. It's not only for us.
Yes.
The concept is new for the world because of our 3 decades of being in the education industry. This has made our job of transforming ourselves or making that shift into an online mode of education has been very exciting, like I mentioned, and it's been encouraging for us. The most important fact is that the retention rate, that means students who are moving from one semester to another semester, we have a 99% retention rate.
Amazing.
The industry standard is 95%, and we are very happy and proud to say we have seen the retention rate of over 99%.
Great number. It's like almost 100%.
Yeah, so the participation here, which even in a conventional mode of learning, we don't see this kind of retention. That means the new normal of online education has already started to take shape, is what we have realized. And also, the excitement has just begun. We are just in a very nascent state, early stages of providing this kind of education. We are open to learn, unlearn, and relearn ourselves. But one thing will be sure, that we are not going to compromise on the quality of education the students are going to get. That has been our legacy of providing such kind of a cutting-edge education for students, which will continue with the online mode of education also.
So, JAIN Online JAIN Deemed to be university is providing you quality of education, the legacy, 99% of retention rate. Then, if you wanted to do online education, then JAIN Online will be one of the best option for you, I think.
Indeed. No doubt about that.
So, sir, before summing it up, I would like to ask some of the questions straight from the students. I have put one video to the students that if they have any queries or problems regarding online education or JAIN Online, they can ask. So, we have some of the questions and I wanted to ask them.
Sure. I'll try to answer to the best of my abilities.
Sir, here we have a lot of queries from the student, and I have selected few of them because we don't have a lot of time. So we will select some of the questions and I'll be asking.
Sure.
So the very first question is from Mac D'Souza. He's saying that I left my college and university last year. Can I join JAIN Online University for UG course? What I am eligible for applying university. 10 plus 2 score is 53%. His score is 53% and he wanted to rejoin in another university, that is JAIN Online.
Definitely, the student can consider rejoining because the eligibility requirement for joining a UG course is just the student should have passed the 10 plus 2.
Okay.
So there is no percentage expectations here. The student should have just passed the 12th standard and the student will be eligible to take up the UG course. But if a student is looking to join a post-graduation course after completion of UG, then a student should have minimum 50% as the marks in the UG.
So, Mac D'Souza, if you are pursuing for UG course, then there is no criteria of percentile. And if you are going through this higher education, then you will have
Post-graduation.
Yeah, post-graduation, then you will have to have this 50 percentile criteria. Yeah.
Absolutely correct.
Okay. So there is this another question from Alhan, technical Alhan. They offer specialization, but the fees are too high to afford for a middle class.
No, I think this particular person must have got confused with conventional mode of education fees and online mode of education fees. There's a C difference between the fees that a conventional regular mode of education charges and the online mode of education charges. So the question of expensive does not arise at all in online, which is very, very, very affordable for every type, every demography of students can take up online mode of education. Fees definitely is not a deterrent for those who are exploring or having interest to join online mode of education.
So Alhan, if you compare this regular education and online education, then you'll see the difference. Then that the fee structure is not at all high.
Absolutely, there are two different poles. They are poles apart. The fees in regular mode of education and online mode of education, which our friend definitely will be understanding once he gets to know the fees that are charged for online mode of education.
And also you can go through the facilities they are providing in online education. You will have live lectures, video recorded lectures, discussion forum,
Correct.
Everything you have.
Correct, absolutely.
With approved university. So we'll take the last question from Ajay Gautam. Ma'am, I want to take admission in MBA and dual specialization. Kindly tell me about placement and job assistance in JAIN Online.
See, dual specialization offers an opportunity for any student to explore or get skilled in two unique subjects like marketing and HR, marketing and finance, and there are many other dual specializations available today. So this the student should be able to understand the utility of those specializations. Now, once you have chosen a dual specialization, obviously the job opportunities will increase. No? So one is that there are two benefits of dual specialization.
Yes.
One is that the employer, prospective employer, would get a student who has got two distinct skills. So for 1 rupee, I'm getting benefits of 2 rupee because the student has got specialization in dual subjects. That is one. The another benefit of dual specialization is that you can sit for a placement for two different types of jobs. No?
Yeah.
So placement is an opportunity that the student gets when they complete their professional education. So MBA is a professional education.
Yeah.
So getting a job or sitting for a placement is a natural outcome of such completion of education. So getting placement is something that is quite natural, and we provide placement assistance for students.
In every university
provides
placement assistance only.
So it is the responsibility or the prerogative of the student to prepare well.
Yes.
For the interviews. Otherwise, placements are definitely assisted.
You just need to work on your hard skills as well as your soft skills.
Absolutely.
So, sir, this comes to an end of this session, this highly informative session, and we are very thankful to you that you come to our show and give this insights about online education. I hope students are now satisfied with the answers, and they are there is no confusion about online education and JAIN Online also.
See, like I mentioned, the online is an evolving mode of education.
Yes.
So it's quite natural that every student who aspires to take up this new mode of education would have as many queries, as many doubts, as many confusions,
Yeah,
or
change
would seek.
always comes up with
Yes.
a lot of confusions and
So it is their right to seek such clarifications and also find suitable answers for that. So this interaction, I'm sure, would have helped all those viewers to get a better clarity and also better understanding. Because first I want them to understand, or our university want the students to realize that biggest advantage of online. Okay, all modes of education are good, but online comes with this distinct advantages, which we already discussed. So if anyone would like to take online education, so our interaction and the queries that we answered, I'm sure is going to help them to make right choices.
I hope that we will meet again and solve another queries of the students.
We'll be happy to do that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.